I'd like to kick off GrafanaCon by welcoming the main person that you guys have all come to see, the creator of Grafana and the Chief Grafana Officer of RainTank. Please give a warm welcome for Torkel Odegaard.
Thank you, Lars, and welcome everyone to GrafanaCon 2016. It's truly a pleasure to have another GrafanaCon. This is the second one. We had one last year. And to kick things off, I just have a few questions. I'm just going to, Raj already introduced me. You don't need to know more about me. But what I need to know is who attended last year's GrafanaCon. Please sort of show your hands. So a lot of new faces here. That's really, really great. I have some other questions. So it's fun to see who here sort of flew in, not from New York. Cool. Who in here is this first time you were on a conference at an aircraft carrier? Okay, I figured. Now to a more sort of personal question, so don't be shy. Who in here used the light theme in Grafana? You won't be kicked. You won't be kicked out. So I promise you. It actually has some use cases. Personally, I use it when I want to wear sunglasses and look at Grafana indoors. It's very hard to do with a dark theme. Anyway, as I mentioned, this is the second time we're running a GrafanaCon. Last year, it was a much smaller event. We had 8 speakers and talks. It was just a 4-hour event. We had around 100 attendees. We had one sponsor in Squarespace that provided the venue. It was not held on an aircraft carrier. But it was sort of pretty successful. People were happy with it. But and we threw that together in only 5 weeks. This year, it's a bit bigger, actually. We have 20 speakers and talks. It's a full 2-day event, 10 sponsors, and over 200 attendees. Talks covering more than 12 open source projects, which is great. This is not a conference that is solely about Grafana. It's about the wider ecosystem of time series databases, metrics, analytics, and more. So that's really great. We have an after conference party. I hope to see you there tonight. And it is being held on an aircraft carrier, which is pretty cool. Just a quick note about sponsors. I just want to show them off and thank them. Our platinum sponsor, Intel, Staples, Kentech, NS1, Percona, Circonus, Equate.io, Voxter, Influx Data, Packet, and Beluga CDN. These sponsors truly make this sort of event as big and as cheap as it is, because without them, we couldn't sort of really have this conference. So tremendous thank you to them. And also, a big thank you to all the speakers who are going to be joining this stage and the other halls we have for tomorrow. And a final thank you, and very personal thank you to the RainTank New York team, who has put a tremendous amount of work into getting this conference organized, especially Trent White, who is the head of marketing at RainTank and the main organizer. But I know that sort of everyone in the New York office has put a lot of work into making this conference a reality. And as the creator of Grafana, to have a sort of real conference named GrafanaCon is truly sort of makes me truly proud and an honor, and I'm just so thankful for the work you've put together to make this a reality. And I'm also really thankful to all of you who decided to buy a ticket and show up. So before we begin with the talks, I just wanted to run through what's happened with the Grafana project this last year. Just sort of contrast it to some of the numbers and things I said at last year's GrafanaCon. Last year's GrafanaCon, I showed you some sort of just numbers for how big the project is and how many pull requests and how many reporting instances there are. Starting from Grafana 2, we had this sort of usage reporting that people could disable, but it's really interesting for us to see how many servers Grafana servers are out there and what version they're running. So please don't disable it. But anyway, last year we had around 12,000 reporting instances. that have sort of network connection and haven't disabled it. Now we're up to close to 50,000, and we know the number is much bigger due to sort of many servers not having network access or having disabled the reporting feature. So it's just more than a tripling in growth over this last year, and it's just taking, sort of growing and growing in the interest of Grafana, which is really great. During this last year, we had a number of Grafana releases. Just after last GrafanaCon, we released version 2.5 that, among other things, added support for Elasticsearch and Prometheus in the core Grafana sort of release. Right after that, sort of, we were planning to start on alerting, but with having added support for Elasticsearch, we really felt that we needed a table panel. Everyone was sort of craving or really wanting a table panel in Grafana. So we did a release that mainly added that. It added some UX improvements and other things as well, but in December we released 2.6 with the table panel. Then we had quite a large jump to the next release, which was 3.0 in May. And it did not include alerting either, because what happened in the meantime was that Grafana was just being inundated with so many requests, feature requests for new data sources, new ways to integrate, new ways to visualize. So we really needed to improve the extensibility of Grafana. And that required a sort of large refactoring of the code base and modernizing the plugin system and sort of completely revamping large parts of Grafana, which required also a long beta period. So version 3.0 had quite a long beta period. But it was well worth it, as we'll see later, sort of how many new extensions and panels and plugins and data sources have been created in the meantime. So we also sort of, one thing that we didn't manage to include in 3.0 was dashboard sharing and sort of via this companion site that we launched. So besides just working on Grafana this past year, we also launched this companion site called Grafana.net, which is meant to be sort of a community site for plugins and dashboards and other services that we plan to provide for Grafana users. But in the meantime, since we launched Grafana.net, we have published 11 panels, 14 data source plugins, and 9 apps. And just want to highlight some of those. So one of the first panels we published, this was actually developed by us in-house, mainly by Daniel Lee, one of the Rain Tank employees. World map panel that allows you to visualize either sort of log data or time series data that has some kind of sort of either country name or geo IP data. Recently, we have a really cool panel published by Jeremy Branham, a diagram panel that sort of allows you to create this kind of weather map diagrams that you can then hook into your time series data to visualize. Also, we had a recent addition in a heat map panel published by NeoCat. I don't know if that's his real name or if it's really a cat, but it's a pretty cool panel that allows you to sort of create these GitHub commit graphs. And lastly, we have a really mission-critical panel in the clock panel, which allows you to show the time, and also a countdown. Next up, apps is something we added a new type of plugin that can bundle both data sources, panels, and dashboards and on new pages into this sort of complete package. And we've been working with SaaS providers to create apps for them. So one of the examples is an app for NS1 to get sort of insight into the NS1 domain service or DNS service. We also have a Kentic Connect Pro to give you access to their NetFlow analytics within Grafana. We also have our own app called WorldPing, that's network performance monitoring. We also have open source apps. One of the most popular is Sabix, developed by Alexander Sobnin. He's an awesome developer. He's developed in this plugin, which is one of the most popular plugins. Has a data source for Sabix, has custom Sabix panels and dashboards. Really, really popular, really awesome app. We also have an app for Boson that's developed by Tyler. Let's see. We also added support for a dashboard repository because we really wanted sort of people to be able to share their dashboard creations. So not everyone should sort of create their Cassandra or Nginx or Apache or whatever they're monitoring, or Kubernetes, their dashboard from scratch. They should just be able to at least get a starting point or get a complete working dashboard that someone else has sort of put the time to build. So that was our main goal, and we did that on Grafana.net. You can sort of filter by data source, so this is not sort of for you can use Graphite, InfluxDB, Prometheus, OpenTSDB, whatever data source you use, you can sort of filter that down, and then we'll get dashboards for that data source or whatever collector you use. If you use Telegraph or you use Collectd, you can also filter by collector to get sort of the dashboards you're interested in. And since we launched this feature this summer, over 200 dashboards have been published, and we have around 3,000 dashboard downloads a week. So, and this is constantly growing as sort of more dashboards are being added and more people discover this, this feature. Another thing that's been really fun this last year has been sort of spotting Grafana. What I mean by that is sort of looking at tweets and seeing sort of, oh, are they using Grafana? Because one of the sort of challenges with an open source project is that you don't really know who your users are. So oftentimes you sort of see that in a tweet or in a press release or some image in the background that says, oh, that's a Grafana dashboard in the background there. And some other sort of last year or two, some truly cool companies have started using Grafana. And especially, this was someone who noticed this, wasn't noticed by us. In the video when SpaceX launched their Falcon 9 and landed it for the first time last December, someone spotted Grafana in the promotional video they made in the Launch Control Center. So you can, so if you enhance it, it is truly Grafana. It was really cool. And just a couple of weeks ago, NASA Computing published a tweet that they're also, where you can actually see that they're using Grafana as well. So we kind of have a monopoly on US space in the US space industry. But it kind of prompted us to create this poster for Monitorama this year to sort of highlight the fact that these sort of truly cool companies are using Grafana to in interesting ways.